Imagine having unlimited entertainment inside your pocket every single day, yet wondering why nothing feels genuinely exciting anymore, not even your favorite hobbies. Every morning begins with endless notifications, short videos, trending songs, and messages before your brain even gets a chance to wake up naturally. You tell yourself you're just checking one notification, but somehow 20 minutes disappear and you barely remember anything you actually watched. Then you put your phone away, expecting to feel refreshed, but instead you're left with a strange emptiness you can't explain. The weirdest part is that nothing around you actually became less enjoyable, yet almost everything somehow feels less rewarding than before. The movies are still great, your favorite games still exist, your friends are still around, but the excitement quietly keeps fading away. So naturally, you start questioning yourself instead of questioning the habits that slowly change the way your brain experiences everyday life. Maybe you've become lazy, maybe you've lost your passion, or maybe adulthood simply stole the excitement you once felt so easily. Those explanations sound believable because everyone repeats them, but they completely ignore something far more important happening inside your mind every day. What if the problem isn't your motivation, your discipline, or your personality, but the environment your brain adapted to over time? Take a moment and honestly think about everything your brain consumes before you've even finished eating your breakfast every single morning. Messages, emails, Instagram, YouTube, shorts, memes, music, weather updates, breaking news, and dozens of tiny distractions, all fighting simultaneously for attention. Without realizing it, your brain keeps switching focus every few seconds until constant stimulation begins feeling completely normal instead of overwhelming. Then, when you finally try reading a book or studying quietly, your brain suddenly complains that everything feels painfully slow and boring. But the book didn't become boring overnight, and your work didn't magically become less meaningful while you were asleep yesterday. Nothing outside changed dramatically. The biggest change happened quietly inside your brain, without asking for your permission or even your attention. Your brain has one incredible superpower that helped humans survive for thousands of years, but today it sometimes works against us. That superpower is adaptation, the ability to turn repeated experiences into something ordinary no matter how exciting they once felt. Think about the first time you tasted your favorite dessert. It felt unforgettable because your brain experienced something completely fresh and unexpected. Now imagine eating that exact same dessert every single day for an entire year without ever taking a meaningful break. Eventually, the dessert doesn't lose its flavor. Your brain simply stops reacting with the same excitement it once naturally experienced. The same thing happens when you hear your favorite song hundreds of times until it slowly becomes background noise instead of magic, or when you move into a house beside a busy road and eventually stop noticing the constant sound of traffic outside. Your brain ignores familiar experiences because constantly reacting to everything would waste enormous amounts of energy every single day. This ability is brilliant for survival, but it becomes dangerous when every ordinary moment gets replaced by endless, digital stimulation. Today's apps aren't simply competing for your time. They're competing to become the most exciting thing your brain experiences every hour. Every swipe promises something funnier, louder, more shocking, more emotional, or more surprising than whatever you just finished watching. Your brain slowly starts expecting that level of excitement everywhere, even during activities that were never designed to feel explosive. That's why reading 10 pages suddenly feels exhausting, while watching 50 random reels somehow feels completely effortless without any resistance. It's not because books became worse. It's because your brain quietly changed what it considers exciting enough to deserve your attention. Imagine asking someone from 20 years ago to watch 300 short videos before lunch. They'd probably think you were joking completely. Today, many of us consume that much stimulation without even realizing how unusual it would have seemed just one generation ago. Every notification, every swipe, every unexpected video gives your brain another tiny surprise, and your mind quietly begins craving more. Not because you're weak, but because your brain naturally remembers rewarding experiences and encourages you to repeat them whenever possible. The more often you satisfy that craving instantly, the less patient your brain becomes with anything requiring time, effort, or focus. Suddenly, a 10-minute educational video feels painfully slow, while 30 random reels disappear before you even notice the passing time. The strange part is that those 30 reels rarely leave you feeling happier, smarter, or even satisfied after they're finished. Instead, they leave behind a quiet feeling that whispers, maybe one more video will finally be the interesting one. So you keep scrolling, not because you're enjoying yourself, but because you're chasing a feeling that never fully arrives. It's like drinking salty water when you're thirsty. The more you consume, the stronger the craving quietly becomes inside you. That's why opening your phone often happens before you've even consciously decided what you actually wanted to do in that moment. Your hand reaches for the phone automatically because your brain has learned that boredom usually disappears with just one quick swipe. But each time you escape boredom immediately, your brain loses another opportunity to become comfortable with quiet, ordinary moments again. Eventually, even waiting 2 minutes for food feels uncomfortable unless you're watching something, listening to something, or scrolling through something. Standing in a queue becomes scrolling time, eating becomes video time, and walking quietly somehow starts feeling strangely incomplete without headphones. Silence slowly disappears from everyday life, replaced by an endless stream of sounds, screens, conversations, and digital distractions demanding your attention. Without noticing, your brain forgets what genuine mental rest actually feels like because stimulation fills almost every empty space available. Then one evening, you finally sit alone with your thoughts, and instead of feeling peaceful, you immediately feel restless and uncomfortable. That uncomfortable feeling isn't proof that silence is bad. It's proof your brain has simply forgotten how to experience it comfortably. And that realization changes everything, because the problem was never ordinary life. The problem was what your brain slowly accepted as normal. Have you ever opened YouTube with a specific purpose, then completely forgotten what you originally wanted just a few minutes later? You clicked one recommendation, then another, until your attention quietly drifted away from your original intention without resistance. The internet is incredibly good at showing you something interesting before your brain even has time to decide independently. That's why you often finish hours of scrolling without remembering most of what you actually watched or learned during that time. Your brain wasn't deeply engaged. It was simply reacting to whatever appeared next, over and over again without much conscious thought. Real enjoyment usually comes from paying attention, but endless scrolling trains your brain to constantly abandon attention before it fully develops. The result is strange because you consume more content than ever before, yet remember less and enjoy even less afterward. Instead of feeling mentally refreshed, you often feel tired, distracted, and somehow still searching for something you can't clearly describe. That feeling isn't because your life lacks excitement, it's because excitement has become so common that your brain barely notices ordinary joy. When everything tries to be extraordinary, even genuinely beautiful experiences start feeling surprisingly ordinary to an overstimulated mind. Think about the last sunset you watched without taking a picture, checking messages, or wondering who texted you recently. Many people can't remember because their attention quietly leaves the present before the moment has a chance to become meaningful. Our minds have become experts at chasing the next experience instead of fully living the one already happening right now. Even during conversations, many people secretly glance at their phones, afraid they might miss something happening somewhere else. Ironically, while trying not to miss anything online, we slowly begin missing the real moments unfolding directly in front of us. Your friend laughs, someone shares a story, the breeze feels pleasant, yet your attention is still trapped behind another glowing screen. Life didn't become less beautiful. Your attention simply became divided into hundreds of tiny pieces every single day. A divided mind struggles to fully enjoy anything because part of it is always waiting for something newer or more exciting. That's why even vacations sometimes feel strangely incomplete unless they're posted, shared, recorded, or constantly checked through another screen. The happiest moments usually aren't the loudest ones. They're the moments when your attention finally stops running and simply stays present. Here's the surprising truth most people never hear. Boredom isn't always your enemy. Sometimes it's your brain asking for recovery, not entertainment. The moment boredom appears, most of us instinctively reach for our phones before giving our minds even a single chance to settle. We treat boredom like a problem needing an immediate solution, when it might actually be the beginning of something valuable instead. Many of your best ideas probably never arrived while scrolling, because constant stimulation leaves very little room for quiet thinking. Great ideas often appear during showers, long walks, or peaceful drives because your brain finally has space to wander freely. When your mind isn't constantly reacting to new information, it naturally starts connecting old ideas in completely unexpected and creative ways. That's why some of history's greatest inventions weren't created during endless distraction, but during moments of silence, curiosity, and uninterrupted thought. Today, silence has become so rare that even one empty minute feels uncomfortable for many people without realizing why. The instant life slows down, our fingers automatically search for another screen instead of simply experiencing the quiet around us. It's almost like we've forgotten that our minds were never designed to receive fresh entertainment every few seconds. Imagine if your favorite song played every minute of every day without ever stopping. Eventually, even that masterpiece would lose its magic, not because the music became worse, but because your brain would slowly stop recognizing it as something special or rewarding. That's exactly what's happening when every free moment gets filled with another notification, another video, or another endless stream of content. Your brain isn't asking for more excitement anymore. It's quietly begging for a chance to breathe and reset itself naturally. The problem is that constant stimulation feels normal now, so slowing down initially feels uncomfortable instead of peaceful or refreshing. Many people mistake that discomfort as proof they need more entertainment, when it's actually the opposite happening inside their minds. Think about going to the gym after months without exercise. The first workout feels difficult, but that doesn't mean it's harmful. Your attention works the same way. The first moments of silence feel difficult because that mental muscle hasn't been exercised recently. But every time you resist grabbing your phone immediately, you're quietly teaching your brain that ordinary moments still have value. And little by little, the excitement you thought was gone doesn't magically return. Your brain simply remembers how to notice it again. The goal isn't to throw your phone away forever. The goal is making sure your phone stops controlling every empty moment. Technology was designed to become a useful tool, but somewhere along the way it quietly became our default escape from boredom. Every uncomfortable emotion now has an instant distraction, waiting only a single swipe away, making avoidance feel incredibly easy and effortless. Feeling lonely? Open an app. Feeling stressed? Watch another video. Feeling bored? Keep scrolling until time quietly disappears again. The problem is that distractions don't remove uncomfortable feelings. They usually postpone them until the next quiet moment eventually arrives. That's why many people feel strangely overwhelmed the instant they finally sit alone without music, videos, conversations, or constant notifications nearby. Silence feels uncomfortable because your brain has forgotten that silence was once a completely normal part of everyday human life. Long before smartphones existed, people waited, walked, traveled, and rested without constantly feeding their minds new streams of endless information. Those quiet moments weren't empty at all. They gave the brain precious time to recover, reflect, and naturally process experiences. Today, those tiny moments disappear beneath endless scrolling, leaving almost no space for your mind to simply exist without stimulation. Maybe that's why so many people feel mentally exhausted, even after spending entire weekends doing nothing physically demanding or challenging. Your body might be resting on the couch, but your brain is still running a marathon through thousands of digital distractions. Real rest doesn't always mean sleeping longer. Sometimes it simply means giving your attention fewer things to chase throughout the day. Imagine spending just 10 quiet minutes without reaching for your phone, headphones, television, or any other source of constant stimulation. At first, your mind will probably feel restless because it's expecting another burst of excitement to arrive almost immediately. But if you stay there a little longer, something surprising slowly begins happening beneath all that initial mental discomfort. Your thoughts become clearer, your breathing feels calmer, and ordinary sounds suddenly seem more noticeable than they did before. Nothing magical changed around you. Your brain simply stopped competing with hundreds of louder things, demanding attention every single minute. That's when simple experiences begin feeling enjoyable again, not because they became better, but because your attention finally returned to them. You start laughing harder, listening more carefully, noticing small details, and appreciating moments that once felt completely ordinary and forgettable. The excitement you were searching for wasn't hiding inside another app, another video, or another endless stream of recommendations online. It was quietly waiting beneath layers of constant stimulation that slowly convinced your brain ordinary life wasn't enough anymore. The beautiful thing about the human brain is that adaptation works both ways, not only toward more stimulation, but also away from it. If your brain learned to expect constant excitement, it can absolutely learn to appreciate slower, quieter moments once again. It won't happen overnight, just like the habit itself didn't appear overnight without you noticing the gradual change taking place. Small choices repeated every day always shape your mind more powerfully than dramatic changes made only once in a while. Every time you choose presence over another unnecessary swipe, you're quietly rebuilding your ability to enjoy ordinary life again. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll notice something that once seemed impossible has finally started happening naturally. A conversation feels genuinely interesting, a walk feels peaceful, a book holds your attention, and silence no longer feels uncomfortable. Maybe nothing was ever wrong with your motivation. Maybe your brain simply needed the chance to fall in love with ordinary life again.
Stop chasing motivation. Start understanding your mind. Subscribe to Inner Violet and learn how to think, not just react.